Hey guys, I want to welcome you back to another episode on J of All Trades. Today I'm going to show you guys how I install this bathtub here, so let's get started. So when I first began, I had this original cast iron tub, and after removing the surrounding tile and everything else around it, I had to take a huge sledgehammer and break this entire cast iron tub up. It would have been impossible for me to take this thing out on my own, so this was the best way of doing it. And after I basically demolished this entire tub, I was able to clear everything out, clean it up nicely, and then I was ready for the install. It's now time to remove this old drain line from the old tub, and I'm going to be able to cut it from the basement, so I'm going to head down there and cut it out. If you don't have access to your drain line from the basement, you can always remove some boards on the top and be able to cut it out that way. My drain line goes into a cast iron piping here, and in order to cut cast iron pipe, you really need to have a diamond blade. I'm going to use a Sawzall blade, and this blade is made by Hercules. I'll put a link in the description so you guys can get it if you'd like. Now the Sawzall really did help to get into this hard to reach position, but I'll be honest with you guys, I really had to adjust myself several times so that I can be able to cut this, because your hands get really tired after doing this for a while. Not to mention that the cast iron pipe is a really strong pipe and it's really tough to cut. So you really have to take your time and just be mindful of the surrounding pipes as well. Overall, the diamond blade did a pretty good job and it made a nice clean cut on this cast iron pipe. After everything was cleared up and I cleaned everything out, I noticed that there were a few pieces of wood here that support the tub that were compromised. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay a fresh layer of 3/4 inch plywood to support my new tub. After taking some measurements here, I was ready and set to go to cut this new piece of plywood and lay it down on the floor. Installing this new piece of 3/4 inch plywood would also bring my tub level with the rest of the flooring in the bathroom. One thing I did before I brought this piece in was I cut out a notch, as you can see, where the drain will go down and connect to the main drain line. That cutout was 4 inches wide and 10 inches long. You'd have to do some measurements on your new tub to see exactly how much clearance you need for your drainage. This new platform definitely feels a lot sturdier and a lot stronger. This new platform for the new tub will also make it a lot easier to level out this flooring and get everything nice and plumb. It would also help me to achieve a very slight pitch towards the drain as well. Here I'm just double checking with my level to make sure that the level is correct, and once everything looks nice and plumb, we're ready to secure this piece of wood down to the floor. You want to make sure that you put a screw every 1.5 feet or so apart so you can make sure that it's properly secured to the floor. It's now time to prep all the fittings for our tub here, and we're going to pre-fit it onto the tub. So I'm just going to show you guys here. This is a drain kit for a tub that I got off of Amazon, and I'm going to include a link in the description. So let's get to cutting some of this fitting. And here I'm using a bandsaw to cut this tubing. As you can see, it really does cut this stuff like butter. And this bandsaw can also be used to cut cast iron piping if you'd like, so just keep that in mind. So this fitting will go directly at the bottom of the tub drain. One of the most important things that you need to do is to deburr your tubing or piping when you install it, because this can cause leaks later on. So you can see those little metal pieces that are sticking out. I'm using this tool here to clean it all out, and that makes those sharp edges disappear. And so you want to use the inside and the outside, so we're going to clean both the inside and the outside of the tubing, and that's going to make all these sharp little edges go away. Now that looks nice and clean for the installation. Here I'm going to cut the overflow tubing length. Just keep in mind that every tub drain may have a different length, but they're mostly standard, and always remember to deburr your tubing or piping before installation. For your drain install, you're going to want a waterproof caulk sealant. You can get that at your local Home Depot or Lowe's if you'd like. In my particular tub drain kit, I have a gold kit, and this basically screws right out and the plug screws right back in. And here you have a gasket that goes on the bottom of this, and I'm going to show you guys exactly how we're going to install this. First thing you want to do is open up the caulk sealant, and then you're going to put it around this drain piece here. You're also going to notice that I'm putting some of the sealant on the threading as well. That will give me some added protection. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to take this bottom drain piece and put the gasket right on top there. You can also add some waterproof silicone around that gasket if you'd like. Then you're going to take this piece and put it right up against the bottom of the tub. You want to make sure that this is centered as much as possible. Then you're going to take this piece here and you're going to hand screw it first. And this is to avoid cross-threading this when you start out. And then once you get a nice start on it, you can start to use this drain removal tool to tighten everything up. You want to make sure everything is nice, tight, and snug. And I'm using this screwdriver to go through this tool here to tighten everything up. But be careful and mindful because over tightening it can actually crack the tub. So just be mindful of the amount of force that you're using. You can now take a cloth or a piece of paper towel and clean up the excess silicone that spilled over. So here we're going to be putting this piece in the bottom of the tub, and this is for the drain, and then this is for the overflow. So here we're going to start taking this apart, and you're going to find a plastic seal in here, and the beveled part will be facing downwards. So here we have the overflow, and this piece goes on first, which is going to screw in. Then we're going to slide on this plastic seal here, and always remember the beveled piece is facing downwards, and that will create a nice watertight seal when we tighten that up. Now we can fit this into the drain fitting, and we're going to make sure that we give this a nice push in there, and we're going to just turn this, and we're going to leave it loose so we can be able to adjust it as we put this on the tub. As you can see, by leaving this loose, I'm able to slide this back and forth. And now we're going to go behind the tub and we're going to put the same fittings on the drain. And we're going to fit this entire piece on here. Then we're just going to hand tighten everything up so we can be able to move it and make some adjustments if we need to. Here we have a gasket for the overflow, and you can always put this on before you actually put the overflow into that fitting, or you could just slide it right on here in the back like I'm doing now. And this will allow for a nice watertight seal when we tighten this onto the tub. Once you have this in place around this overflow fitting here, you're going to work these grooves right around the edge of the tub, all the way around this cutout, and make sure that this gasket is sitting nice and flush around the edge. This will allow for a proper watertight seal. Once you've got the gasket on there, you're ready to put on the cover for this overflow. And keep in mind that I'm using a screw gun here. You really want to set this to a very low torque setting, and you'd be able to screw this in no problem. Otherwise, it is advisable to use a screwdriver for this. Now you can go behind the tub and you can tighten up all these fittings here and make sure they're nice and snug. Now it's time for the fun part. And this is definitely my least favorite part of this whole process, which is actually lifting the tub and sliding it into place. I recommend getting a second pair of hands. Now that the tub is finally in place, we're ready to go down to the basement and connect the drain lines. Here, as you can see, I used the flexible PVC pipe coupling for cast iron to plastic. I then used a plastic slip joint sink drain, which can also be used as a tub drain. And this allowed me to easily offset the pipe so it can connect directly into the tub drain. I'll include some links for these parts in the description. It's now time to leak test our tub drain. And what we're going to do is we're going to run the water, and we're also going to plug it up, fill up the tub, and make sure that everything is nice and watertight. Once we're sure that everything is watertight and we don't have to make any adjustments, we can then secure the tub to the wall. We're finally ready to secure this tub to the wall. I strongly recommend covering the tub with plastic to protect it from any damage. Now here I'm using a drill bit to help me pre-drill the tub, and this will make it much easier to drive screws directly into the studs. When you're ready to drive your screws in, just be mindful not to over tighten the screws because this can crack the tub. You want to place a screw at every stud so that everything can be secured properly. Once you've gotten everything fully secured, you're ready to put on your cement backer board and you're good to go. So I want to thank you guys for joining me today. Please remember to like and subscribe to my channel so you can continue to get more videos like this one. And I'll see you guys on the next one.